What's up, guys? MMA Dynasty. We're back. We're doing another full podcast, and UFC Orlando just went down. One of the best fight nights of the year, one of the best main events of the year. And before we get into it, make sure to like, comment, and again, we work hard on these videos, and we have one condition. If you're going to watch our videos, you may as well hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to us.
It's free.
Otherwise, it's free. Yeah, it's free, guys. So hit the subscribe button and make sure to leave a like and a comment. And let's just get into it, man. What a main event. Wonderboy Thompson, Kevin Holland. We were both wrong going into this. I honestly really thought that there was no way Wonderboy could possibly look this good at the age of 40. I said, listen, the last time he had a good performance was against Jeff Neal. And you know what? That was in 2020. I thought, oh, that's
Yeah.
almost 2 years ago.
Mhm.
Kevin Holland's in his prime. He's 6'3". He's got a significant reach advantage. There's no
He's
fucking way he
unorthodox.
could outclass Kevin Holland. And dude, Wonderboy looked like he was pulling off techniques straight out of a movie. Like, that is one of the most flashy, striking performances I've ever seen against a guy who actually is really dangerous on the feet. Now,
Mhm.
some people are saying Kevin Holland's overrated, and we'll talk about his fight IQ because I
Yeah.
think, honestly, guys, I think Kevin Holland has some really, really bad fight IQ because it seems like he wants to entertain more and he wants to prove a point to himself more
Mhm.
than he wants to win, which at the end of the day, you're just going home with like less than half the money that you could go home with. But Wonderboy is the most impressive 40-year-old I've ever seen fight since Yoel Romero. I mean, to be pulling off like those techniques with the speed and athleticism that he can pull them off with, spinning wheel kicks, like snapping head kicks, just he's so fast. Kevin Holland was saying, man, that old man needs to slow down. Like,
Mhm.
how is he doing it at 40? It doesn't make any sense. Jacob, what did you think of his performance?
Yeah, I honestly was real surprised. I just thought I just thought there was no way he was gonna win. I thought like we talked about it last week, like if it goes to decision, that's like the only way, but we didn't think it was gonna go to decision just because he's 40 years, pretty much 40 years old, 39 years old. Holland's got a lot of power. He's very unorthodox. The last time he's fought against the striker who's unorthodox, he got knocked out by Pettis. Um, So I was like, okay, and Holland also has ridiculous reach, ridiculous height. He's still in his prime, or at least we thought he was still in his prime, but we'll get to that after. And yeah, I just thought there was no way Wonderboy was gonna win. And I have it Holland won the first round, but it was a really close one. But then after that, it was just like Holland just had no answer for what Wonderboy was giving him, you know what I mean? And it was a complete lesson why you cannot strike with this guy, and why nobody chooses to strike with him, because if you choose to strike with him and you're at that division, you're going to get knocked out. It's as simple as that, or you'll get beaten up for 5 straight rounds.
Yeah.
And Holland learned it the hard way, and lost the fight. And speaking of the IQ, like the IQ was awful. And I think like he had a couple of wrestling exchanges where if he stuck with that, he probably would have won the fight, honestly. Because you look at when it happened in the second round. I think there was like 2 minutes left. He could have held Holland on Wonderboy on the ground, did some ground and pound, some slice him up with some elbows, stuff like that. But instead he chose to let him up. And I think there was another time where it happened, maybe in the fourth round. I could be wrong, but yeah, I just Wonderboy isn't great on the ground. So if you have an opportunity with him on the ground, you take advantage of it. And that's what hurt him ultimately. And second round after that, like he got beaten up for 2 more minutes. Third round, he got beaten up again. I think that's where he hurt his hand blocking a kick. And then the fourth round, we saw what happened there. But yeah, no, I just think the fight IQ was awful. You can't just like try, like he was just trying to prove to himself that he could strike with this guy when you just can't. You know what I mean? Wonderboy's been doing it since he was like 5 years old. Like he's going to be a better striker than anybody he goes in the ring with or cage with. So what you need to do with him is you need to grapple. Like got to leave your ego aside and grapple.
Got to
And I
mix it
think
up, man.
he did it too late. He was trying to he was shooting in the fourth round, but that's just too late. So just can't strike with the guy. So
You
yeah, I think
know,
his IQ was awful, and I think he was kind of being a bit like Michael Chandler, where he's trying to trying to like get the fans all hyped up, but
Yeah,
not doing what's best for him for the win. But I think the difference about him and Michael Chandler, I think Chandler is fully doing it for the fans. I think Holland was doing it to prove to
I
himself a
think
point
I think
that
you're spot
he
on with
he
that.
could he could he could strike with the guy like Wonderboy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
And
the only
one thing
difference.
that I want to say, to bounce off of that is I think you're spot on. I think that Kevin Holland, not choosing to shoot for takedowns, when he's in a top position, letting Wonderboy up, a guy like Wonderboy who's clearly getting the better of you on the feet, you're just letting him up and, you're saying, stand up, stand up. I think that Kevin Holland, you know, kind of views himself as the baddest striker in the division. I mean, think about it. Like he's been knocking a lot of guys out. He's only really lost to guys like Derek Brunson, Marvin Vettori, grapplers. When Hamzat Chimaev fought him, that was Hamzat Chimaev doing everything that he could to just take him down and submit him. And I think that throughout the past few years when he's been fighting these grapplers, there may just be kind of that thought that none of these motherfuckers want to stand with me. I'm too dangerous on the feet. None of them want to stand. If only I had someone to stand with. And he kind of got this sense that, he's one of the baddest guys on the feet. Now he is a pretty dangerous striker, but I mean, we have to look at who is he actually beat. Alex Oliveira, Joaquin Buckley, like these are guys that aren't even ranked. Tim Means, good fighters, but they're like 20 to 30 like level fighters. If you look down the rankings, they're not in the top 15. And I think that, we kind of all bought into this hype. And a lot of that hype is generated from his bravado, his trash talking in the cage, like his social media presence. He's just a big personality.
Yeah.
Of course, he's got a long reach. He has some cool knockouts. He's got a funky style. It's fun to watch. And you just think this guy's 30, he's young, no one wants to stand with him. And you almost start to buy into it. Like I started to buy into this aura. And I think that the fans buying into it kind of that kind of adds, fuel to the fire of Kevin Holland's ego and making him think like, ain't nobody want to stand with me. I finally got my moment, a stand-up battle with a guy that's going to stand with me. So I'm going to do what I should do. I'm going to prove a point that I'm going to knock this guy out. I'm finishing him. It's the passing of the torch. I'm the new king in this division when it comes to striking. And I mean, honestly, in retrospect, like Wonderboy's always been in the top 10. Like he's never been outside of the top 10.
Never.
He's like,
and to do that without the wrestling is unbelievable.
And I mean? Kevin Holland has he's never been ranked at welterweight. I don't think he's ever been ranked at welterweight. He may have been ranked at middleweight at one time, but never at welterweight. And here's the thing. I really thought that it is his ego because when he's in there, he's making a conscious decision to let Wonderboy up to his feet when he knows he has a submission game. He's probably got some good ground and pound. Yeah. He's knocked some guys out on the ground too. And I think that he was pissed off at himself. And when you're frustrated in the octagon, that could lead to bad decisions, that could lead to you, trying to overextend and overthrow. And I think that, it was that ego that got the best of him. I honestly think that, he kind of bought into this idea that he was just going to go in there and knock Wonderboy out. And I feel like he would have had a better chance to do that if maybe after the second round, he said, all right, fuck this. I'm having some trouble. I'm going to start mixing in some takedowns and I'll see if I can strike, when I'm trying to mix in takedowns. I think he would have had more success with the striking if he was mixing in takedowns, but he didn't. And you could tell in the fourth round, after it was stopped, he looks down at his glove and he says to his coach, get this shit off of me. He's talking about his glove. He's like, get this off me. He's pissed at himself. Like you could tell he was really upset at himself.
He was like, I'll live for another day. Like,
Yeah. And I think that like, maybe we all kind of bought into the fact that he was a little overhyped. And I think he was overhyped. And honestly, I think Kevin Holland was thinking he was the baddest guy on earth. Like when it comes to the striking, and he got sunned and schooled by a 40-year-old dude, 40-year-old. Who literally makes it look like a movie. And, by the way, I think Stephen Thompson is legitimately one of the best strikers ever. And on top of that, I take it back. He's still an S-tier striker. And guess what? Israel Adesanya, not even in my top fucking 5. Because here's the thing. People speak of Izzy. Oh, Izzy's got to be like number 1 or 2 best strikers. Not a chance. Like, people will watch a guy like Alex Pereira KO him. People will watch a guy like Wonderboy landing spinning wheel kicks at will. And then they'll go out here and say, no, but Izzy, man, that dude was the champion. Like, just because he was champ, who was he fighting? Like, the guy throws a couple leg kicks and he throws a couple right hands and a couple hooks. Like, pretty fast kicks, but leg kicks. Wonderboy's out here making movies in the octagon.
Also, he's doing it against a guy with like an 8-inch reach advantage.
Yeah,
like
he's doing that against a guy who has a significant reach advantage. He's also good on the feet.
That's why Izzy's striking is so good. Like, it never was actually that good. He just had a huge reach advantage over everybody. So like they couldn't like deal.
Dude, the fact that Wonderboy fucked up Kevin Holland with a massive reach advantage at the age of 40 is insane. Like, I first of all, we made a video talking about Wonderboy and where he ranks. We said we wouldn't have him in our top 5. I take it back. I think he's now in my top 5. Like, he really proved me wrong. But still, man, like, Cyril Gahn is looking flashier than Izzy. Like he's looking better than Izzy. He's pulling off cooler things than Izzy. Like, you know, Volkanovski, Poirier, like, these guys are finishing people, bro. They're finishing people and putting beatings on them with cool techniques. Israel Adesanya leg kicking Marvin Vettori and Jared Cannonier barely getting the win. Are you kidding me?
And then people are like, oh, he's the best striker in the world. Like,
I think Israel Adesanya, if you look at who he's beat, okay, Robert Whittaker, his first fight over, very impressive. I have to say, in my opinion, if you're going to actually say what's the most impressive win he has, I really do think it's that Whittaker one, just based on how good Whittaker is. Then the Paulo Costa one. Those are 2 fights. Very good.
That was it.
I'll give it to him. That's it. Like, what else is in there? Sure, he looked decent against Pereira, but he still got KO'd. Yeah. Like, he didn't
still
win.
Got outstruck, you know what I mean?
Still got outstruck. So, like, Jan Blachowicz, you got outstruck. I mean, and then you're looking at fights like Marvin Vettori, Jared Cannonier, Yoel Romero. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Man. And then Kelvin Gastelum, like, the guys he's humiliating. Kelvin Gastelum, Paulo
Costa. He didn't even humiliate
Gastelum. Like, yeah, I think Kevin Holland beats all these guys. I think Kevin Holland, if it was just a stand-up battle with Paulo Costa, might beat him.
Yeah.
Just a stand-up battle. And I just think that Adesanya was maybe one of the I'm not saying he's lucky. He's a little lucky, but he's a little lucky that he got that 185-pound division where the best grappler is Whittaker, who can't even hold you down for more than 10 seconds.
Also, the reach. He got lucky with his reach.
With the reach, of course. But I don't know if but I think that's just I feel like that's just a part of it. You know, I mean, Volkanovski's got a long reach for his division.
But not like Izzy,
Conor had a long reach.
But like Izzy, like, I mean, he should be a 205er with that kind of height and reach, and like he's small, he's like skinny and stuff. So
he's small for 205.
But I'm saying is like like with his length and his reach, like he should be a 205er.
Yeah,
but he's not like or even a heavyweight, but he's skinny, like he doesn't have a lot of muscles. So he fits in that division, and he could like he's got like these huge reach advantage over people, and like they can't do anything about it. You know what I mean? Because, like, I mean, look, he's a good striker, obviously. And you take a good striker.
Great striker. I mean, let's be real. He's a great striker.
I mean, he's a pretty good striker. And, like, let's be like, if you're a pretty good striker and you have an 8-inch reach advantage over everybody, and your legs are longer, your height's a lot longer, taller, like you're gonna beat everybody if they try to striking with you. You know what I'm saying? So
unless
like,
you're
I don't think
Wonderboy.
Yeah, unless you're Wonderboy, which is why Wonderboy's better. You know what I mean? Because Holland's a pretty good striker too. He's not Adesanya level, I wouldn't say, but for a guy like Wonderboy to do that to someone who has an 8-inch reach advantage and a couple inches in height, like, is unbelievable. And I don't remember the last time I've seen something like that. Truly. A striking performance like that, I don't remember the last time I've seen that. And to your point about the Yoel Romero, like, to be the last guy who was 39 years old to look like him, the only other guy in the UFC to look like that,
only other dude,
is Yoel Romero,
like knocking people out, you know,
who's made in a Cuban
factory,
lab,
bro.
Literally, like, you know what I mean?
Like, I know, man. I mean, and the Wonderboy, you know, Yoel's impressive because he's just such a beast. And for sure, there's some old guys that have had success like Glover, but what makes it so impressive is that he's like pulling off these striking techniques, these flashy striking techniques, wheel kicks, hook kicks, like jumping switch kicks. It's just, how does he have that athleticism and dexterity and agility at that age? It's so insane.
And the speed,
he must have some
even the power,
really good recovery program,
and his power too.
Yeah,
his
and the power
was good.
Yeah. Dude, he was landing wheel kicks at will. Like, dude, we don't even see that at bantamweight. We don't even see that with guys like O'Malley and all this. And it might just because their opponents are also equally skilled to them, but still, it's just incredibly impressive. Wonderboy, in my opinion, is the honestly, he's the most, I would say, okay, so when I say best striker, that's me saying who's the most effective striker in MMA. I think Wonderboy is the most impressive striker. Like when I
think
watch
Wonderboy is the most crafty striker of all time. I think he's the most creative striker of all time. I think he's the most creative
him and Silva. I'd put maybe Wonderboy's up there, but him and Silva, I'd put them up there. But like, yeah, man,
and Jake Paul
I've watched
beat Anderson
Wonderboy
Silva,
fight.
so
What's
that's
up?
and Jake Paul beat Anderson Silva, so people got to start discrediting the guy. But
No, I don't think.
but
so,
anyways,
man, you know, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy because Wonderboy, like whenever I see him fight a striker, he's always just outclassing them like these. He
just
pulls
can't
off
strike with
like
the guy.
yeah. If I were to take a guy who doesn't watch MMA and I said, okay, like I can show you a guy fight live and it's going to be really entertaining, I just show them Wonderboy versus any striker.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, yeah, because you cannot go wrong.
But like
you
and
don't
the
fact
see
that
him
Anthony Pettis KO'd him is a fluke. And like I've heard people say, and I fell into this. The MMA Guru, for example, said that he doesn't do well against guys that are really unorthodox. I think that's bullshit, and I think it's time that it's laid to rest because Pettis KOing him was a fucking fluke, straight up.
Yeah,
I think that was a bit of a fluke.
Yeah, I think also the thing about Wonderboy is like we don't see people try striking with him, and like this was like pretty much one of the only examples where we've seen someone fully try striking with him, and you just can't. He's gonna be better than anybody. Truly, I like in terms of at least that division, he's gonna be better than anybody. And I honestly think he may be top 3 in the UFC in striking. He may not be top 5.
I think he's top 3. I think he's top pure striking.
He may be number 1. He may be number 1
pure
for that matter.
Striking, bro, probably.
Because
I don't like who beats him on the feet. I think he could maybe knock out. I think he could knock out Whitaker. He already did. He already has knocked him out. And I think he could. Here's one thing before we get on to the next segment. I want to see Wonderboy move up because it would be a shame and a waste and a shit business move to not have Wonderboy fighting strikers. He's never going to become champion ever again. Let's be real. He's not beating any guy that can grapple. And number 2, at welterweight in the rankings, that's nobody but grapplers. Bilal Muhammad, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Hamza Chimaev, Colby Covington, Gilbert Burns, all grapplers. So get him to move up. Even Leon Edwards is gonna wrestle him. So move him up to middleweight. So he has matchups like Whitaker, Cannonier, Strickland, Costa, all strikers. Get him to 185 now because it's not realistic to put him up against guys that are outside the rankings when he's ranked high. I want to see him move up. I want to see him fight Whitaker. I want to see him fight Strickland, Cannonier. Those would be awesome fights.
Let's see Sean Strickland versus Wonderboy.
Dude, I think Strickland would kill him. I mean, I think Wonderboy would kill him.
Or even, I also think Wonderboy versus
Cannonier, dude. I want to see that. I want to see Wonderboy versus any guy who's a striker.
What about Masvidal versus?
I like that too. He beat Masvidal once, and
but
I don't think there's any chance for Masvidal to win that one. But I'd like to see it.
Yeah, because I think Masvidal would strike with him too. I think Strickland would strike with him. That's why I like it. You just have to. But at the same time, will these guys really strike with him though? Because like that's the thing. Like,
I think Strickland has maybe learned his lesson to never strike with a guy like that.
That's the thing though. I don't know if anybody will strike with him.
I think Whitaker would be able to mix it up and take him down here and there.
But then Whitaker would probably win the fight.
I think there would be a lot of striking because the thing is Whitaker might not be able to hold him down. He may be much bigger though. And here's the thing. I think that Cannonier, dude, these guys at middleweight, they don't have grappling. Like they don't have the Bilal Muhammad level of grappling. Like there's one guy that's a good wrestler, Whitaker, but other than that, like no one is able to really hold you down like that.
Or what about Izzy?
That's why I want to see him move up.
I would want to see Izzy versus Wonderboy. I think that'd be a good fight.
I'd love to see that too.
Yeah, I think that would be a good fight. But to continue going over this card, it should have been the co-main event, but Sergey Pavlovich versus Tai Tuivasa, a fight that never should have happened.
Francis Ngannou. There's a new
Russian Francis Ngannou, a fight that should have never happened. What is Tuivasa? What was Tuivasa doing to himself? Truly, like that was one of the worst decisions. That's his worst decision for his career, and one of the worst decisions I've ever seen out of anybody in their career. You
Yeah.
take a guy like Tuivasa, who's got some hype going around him. They put him against a guy like Cyril Gane, who it's not no harm getting a loss against Cyril Gane. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he's probably the second best heavyweight in the world right now. So no harm. So he could have taken that loss, recovered, took a bad beating, recovered, and then fight on when his country finally has another UFC event in a pay-per-view event. He could have fought in the pay-per-view against a favorable matchup. But no, the guy wanted 3 months after getting knocked out, exactly 3 months after getting finished brutally, to fight again and get finished again against the opponent,
puncher, bro.
Against the opponent who doesn't have much hype going on with him before, at least.
Yeah.
Terrible business decision, terrible career decision overall. And I think his career may be over, honestly, or at least him being at the top of the division. I think it's for sure over. But what do you think?
I think that the talks of Tai Tuivasa ever being able to beat a guy who's maybe in the top 5 may be over. Now, here's the thing. He's young and he's 29 years old. And if Tai Tuivasa if someone can get a hold of him, get a hold of his big frame, shake him up and tell him, hey, man, you're young, take a year off, get better. Because as a heavyweight, you can have a longer trajectory. You can have a longer career. Take some time off. Don't fight for a while. You have a lot to learn. You know, you let your chin recover. Then there's a chance that he may be able to beat one guy in the top 5. But he's never going to be champion. I never looked at Tai Tuivasa and said to myself, yeah, that's a future champion. But, you know, as far as him having fun fights, him being ranked, I think Tai Tuivasa destroys basically everyone outside of the top 10, unless it's like Jilton Almeida or something like that. Anyone who's a striker, he destroys in the heavyweight division, because, you know, we have to remember there are guys at heavyweight outside the top 10, like Parker Porters and these other guys that are just dog shit. Chase Sherman's, like these guys that I don't even like watching because they're so bad. But I have to say, what a terrible decision. And I've heard people saying like he was just trying to get a paycheck before Christmas. Like, listen, if it was that dire and he needed money that badly, then whatever. You know, is it worth it getting brain damaged? I don't know, but whatever. I don't know how badly.
Is it worth it for long term for your career? Because It wasn't. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. You know, I don't think it was that dire. I mean, he had fought twice this year already. You know, unless this guy's blowing all of his money instantly, I don't know how he manages his money. But I think really, if that wasn't necessarily the case, if it wasn't all about the paycheck, then he should have waited till the spring. Even the Perth card would have been a little too soon. I mean, I cannot stand how I talked about how he got brutalized by Cyril Gane. He had a good moment, right? He knocked Gane down. He had him.
He looked good against Cyril Gane.
But he didn't look that good, though. He looked good for like one moment.
But I mean, against a guy like Cyril Gane, he looked good. You know what I'm saying? Like when
I understand that. He looked good compared to Cyril Gane's other opponents.
Yeah,
but for example, he didn't look good compared to Volkov. Volkov did much better. Like Volkov did much better versus Cyril Gane. When I saw the Tai Tuivasa fight, I saw a guy getting destroyed, and it made me uncomfortable because I like Tai Tuivasa because he was getting really whooped, especially in the 3rd round. And he got knocked out the second time he's been knocked out, but it was a really bad KO. And people were acting like he was still moving, like, oh, great. He was still moving with his eyes in the back.
And also he took a lot of damage before that KO. You know what I mean?
And took a ton of damage. That's what I mean. Like, you know, that's how Cyril Gane knocks you out. He gives you a ton of damage and then puts you out. So, and then going in there against a guy who has a literal 9-inch reach advantage. Insane. 84-inch reach at 6'3". I mean, he's a big heavyweight. First of all, this guy looks bigger every time he steps in the cage, because when I saw him versus Derek Lewis, I thought to myself, he's not that big. He's got a long reach, but he's not that big. He looked big in there the other night. And, you know, a lot of the guys at AKA, Daniel Cormier, Josh Thompson from the Weighing In podcast, they were all saying we don't remember him being this big. He's big. And this guy, in my opinion, is top 3 in the heavyweight. Right, so Francis Ngannou, Cyril Gane, and this guy, those are my top 3. him and Gon, that's the fight I want to see.
Yeah.
That is the fight I want to see. Now, again, Tai Tuivasa, I think he needs to take a lot of time off, take a year off, learn, get better at fighting, rest up. You're a big star. The UFC knows you're valuable. You can get lots of sponsorships. You can be an ambassador for the sport. Just take some time off and then come back a bigger star. But no favors. This is how you ruin a career. If you jump in there, if we see him jumping in there 5 months from now, fuck off. I don't want to see that bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, he may have even ruined his career. I think he ruined his chin already. I think his chin is done now.
But I think Pavlovich is just that guy. Like,
no, but like taking those 2 knockouts and spending 3 months.
Yeah, that could be bad.
It ruins your chin. Like it does. Like no matter who you are. Like
he might never be as tough again. I mean, that was one thing that made him so good. Remember, he's fighting Derek Lewis. He was able to take those shots.
And even against Greg Hardy, who I know wasn't a great opponent, but
Greg Hardy hits hard too.
Yeah.
Man. So I think Pavlovich, I want to see him fight Cyril Gane because I think they're going to do, if John Jones comes back, the reason why I don't say John Jones is one of the best in the division is because I don't even know if he's coming back. So I don't know how he looks at heavyweight. But if it's John Jones and Ngannou, then it has to be Pavlovich and Gane because, Blades, whatever. I think Pavlovich, I think he knocks out Curtis Blades. I really do. Curtis
Blades got the wrestling though.
But he's overrated in my opinion. He really is. Like he's got decent striking, not good enough to fuck with Pavlovich.
Yeah, but
he's got power too, but it's not good enough to mess with Pavlovich. I think Pavlovich, in my opinion, knocks out everyone who isn't gonna dive at his feet.
But I think he
knocks out except for maybe Francis and Cyril Gane. He could knock out Gane. He could knock out Francis. But he 100%, in my opinion, I would pick him so easily to finish everyone. That's not the only people I wouldn't pick him 100% against are Curtis Blades, Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gane, and Francis Ngannou. Everyone else he finishes, in my opinion. That's how good he is. And I do think he finishes I think he finishes Tom Aspinall if they ever fought. Unless Tom Aspinall is as good as we thought he was on the ground.
But I
also think he finishes Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades has been knocked out by Derek Lewis. He's been knocked out twice by Francis. He doesn't have the best chin either, and it's really easy to get hit by Pavlovich. That guy is a good boxer. So he's like Francis Ngannou with a little bit less power, but way better technique.
We don't know about that though. He could have similar power. He
doesn't have similar power. Like when Francis hits people, they die right on the first shot. Sergey still needs a couple shots. Yeah. Hey, that's nothing bad on Sergey. He's still knocking guys out. Like,
and he's got better technique than Francis.
Better technique, which might make him more dangerous. And dude, he may be the guy to beat and knock out Francis. We don't know.
He could be.
Because Cyril Gane is not going to knock Francis out. He could beat him by decision, but he's not knocking him out.
Yeah, I think
Cyril Gane doesn't have the power to be able to knock out Francis. I want to see him versus Gane, and I want to see him versus Curtis. Who honestly, bro, I might even want Pavlovich to beat Gane because I think him versus Ngannou was super interesting.
I think that'd be a banger fight, honestly. Yeah,
I think I like Gane. I really like Gane. I think he's the best striker at heavyweight. But in order for me to think Pavlovich is better, I got to see them fight. So I want to. Hey, Pavlovich, I'm a Pavlovich fan now. I want to see him fight these guys. He's a good addition to the heavyweight division. Here's the thing about Tai Tuivasa. If he takes a year off, he comes back, he's still able to knock some guys out. Heavyweight's interesting. It's interesting. It's 125 is still the worst division, bro. Yeah, heavyweight's back.
I think that was big for the heavyweight division. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of
Jones comes back, that'll just make it. Oh man, heavyweight might be the best division ever.
Yeah, if Jones and Francis come back, yeah. But I think what I want to see for Pavlovich.
Francis is coming back. He's going to sign a new deal, from what I heard.
That's so heavyweight's going to be back, which is exciting. I think the fight to make is Pavlovich versus Gane. I think, or you put him against Blades because I just think Blades you shouldn't do Blades any favors. You shouldn't because first of all, he's the most boring out of these guys. Second of all, he had the fluky win. Tom Aspinall snapped his knee.
Yeah, how could you move him up after that?
I see that I see that they would be looking to book John Jones versus him if Francis can't sign a deal.
I don't get why. I'd rather see Gane versus.
Yeah, why would the UFC do him any favors? He literally doesn't have a legit win in his last fight. You know what I'm saying?
And you can't put him against Francis. He's gotten knocked out by him twice. So
exactly.
Why on earth would he be the backup?
So why do you risk it? You know what I'm saying? So I think maybe you do put him against Pavlovich and just hope that Pavlovich just knocks him out brutally and get him out of there. But at the same time, I think the wrestling is a bit scary to me because Curtis Blades, in my opinion, is the best wrestler in that division. So I think that is scary, but it may not even come down to that because it may come down to where just Sergey Pavlovich just comes out there and just knocks him out cold like he does in his last few fights, you know?
I think he does because Francis Ngannou has just straight up knocked him out twice, and he doesn't even have the best technique. And also, on top of that, not only does he not have the best technique, he's able to utilize his reach too. Like, Curtis Blades, he's a good wrestler, but it's also heavyweight. I mean, these guys aren't that tremendously skilled. So I think, honestly, man.
Also, he'd have to get.
I really think Pavlovich would just knock him out. Like, I think Pavlovich knocks him out before he even shoots for a takedown.
But yeah, no, I mean, in terms of Curtis Blades versus Pavlovich, I think the thing about that also is Pavlovich's reach is just ridiculous, and it may be hard for Curtis Blades to just shoot. You know what I'm saying? But he's gonna have to get close in to really get to secure the takedown. So yeah, I think it's very very likely actually. I would say that it doesn't even come down to that. It just would be like a real quick knockout. You know what I mean? Before you can even shoot. So I think maybe you do put him against the Curtis Blades just to get Curtis Blades out of that top of the division because you don't want that guy to be in that top of the division. You don't. It's kind of like in the bantamweight division, what's his name? Aljo's boy, Marab. Like you don't want him to be at the top of the division with Aljo being champ. And
he's not a promotable guy. I mean, yeah.
And I think that's the same with Curtis Blades. Like you don't want him fighting for the belt. You don't. That would be a nightmare for the UFC.
I mean, also just be like, who on earth would want to see him fight Francis again? I don't. I know how that ends. He would get knocked out 100 out of 100 times. Maybe he could beat Gon, but like he's not beating Francis. And I just want Curtis Blades to have a tough matchup next. So like
maybe Pavlovich.
I just think that's I don't know because here's the thing. I feel like Pavlovich is, I feel like that guy is really, really marketable because he's the only other guy at heavyweight right now that's just knocking everyone out. Like he knocked out Lewis and Tai Tuivasa. Those are two really good knockout guys that he knocked out. Yeah. Who doesn't want to see that guy fight Francis or Gon? Yeah. Like we need to see him fight Francis or Gon. It would be a shame for him to get beat by a 5-round snooze fest decision from Curtis Blades.
So you put him against Ciryl Gane?
I think Ciryl Gane, man. I want to see him fight Ciryl Gane. And then Curtis Blades just gonna have to like deal with it. You know what I mean? Like he had a fluky win. Yeah,
he'll just have to deal with it. But I mean, I think this Pavlovich guy. I mean, he's something else, honestly. And I think on my TikTok, I said I think he beats Gane. People were saying I was crazy and everything.
He could beat him.
If you think about it, like why not? You know what I mean? Like he's way more technical than what's his name? Than Tuivasa. And he's more technical than Francis. He's got a longer reach in those guys. He's taller. Like, how do we know that Ciryl Gane's going to take those shots? You can't take those shots. That's what it is. You can't.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he took those shots by Tuivasa. He got knocked down by Tuivasa. I know he didn't get knocked down by Francis, but this guy's more technical than Francis. He's more technical than Tuivasa. I think he knocks him out, honestly. And I think he may knock him out early too. I think
here's what I want to see. I want to see how he looks in the second or third round, because here's the thing. When Francis Ngannou was coming up, his issue was his gas tank. He wasn't patient.
It still is. It still
tried too hard. He still has a bad gas tank. But that's why after the first round versus Stipe in their first fight, he was done. And he made an improvement. He stayed calm in the second fight, and he was fresh in the second round rematch versus Stipe and was able to knock him out. I want to see if Pavlovich, if he doesn't get the knockout in the first round, like, is he still dangerous in the second or third? Because who knows, man, like, he could just be one of those guys that just loses his gas tank and has to learn from it. Another thing I want to say, the biggest loser in the heavyweight division this year has to be just so sad, but it's Tom Aspinall. Like, I'm seeing
I don't think he beats any of those guys, though.
Gone and get better. Like, I'm just starting to worry that he's never going to be as good as we thought he was.
No, I agree with you.
I want to see him, man. I love I love Tom Aspinall. I want to see this guy maybe become champ someday. And I'm starting to worry that, like, what if this
not going to happen?
It's going to happen again.
I don't think it's going to happen. I just think that, like, I think we were kind of like, I think he looked the way he did because of his competition, honestly. I think that's what it is. He fought
Volkov and fucked him up.
Like, yeah, but I just think
Volkov is honestly, in my opinion, maybe the 7th best guy in that division. I think Volkov, I think he beats Tai Tuivasa.
He didn't Tuivas already beat him?
Volkov? No. I don't think
Sure?
Tuivasa. No, Volkov's never fought him.
I thought he did, but
I
anyways,
think no. He fought Stefan Struve, who's really tall. I think Volkov, honestly, is I think Volkov's a solid number 7 in that division, and nobody except for Derek Lewis didn't even do it in the first round. He got beat up for 3 rounds badly before KOing him. I think Francis KOs him, but other than that, Cyril Gahn had a good win, but it was a closer fight. What Tom Aspinall did to Volkov, I can't unsee that. That was one of the most impressive performances I've ever seen. I think he's good. I gotta say.
I just think his style, I don't know if it works against those top heavyweights though. You know what I mean? Because like we talked about last week, the way he came out there against Curtis Blades, like he was gonna get knocked out. You know what I mean? You come out there with Francis, you're getting knocked out. You come out there with Pavlovich, you're getting knocked out. You come out there against Cyril Gahn, you're getting your face beaten up. You know what I mean? So like that's the thing about him. We have to see him again, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Like then that sucks that we were robbed off seeing that fight, because I think we would have gotten a way better idea of how good he really is. But he was definitely the biggest loser. But I think it'll be interesting to see what happens next for Pavlovich. I'm hoping the Cyril Gahn fight, but I kind of would Curtis Blades. I want to see him just knock out Curtis Blades. But I feel like that's just like a huge risk too, though. You know what I mean?
You don't want to see Blades beat anyone. You don't want to see Blades beat. Who do we give Blades that is 100% going to beat him other than Francis? And you can't give him Francis. Francis is the champ.
There's nobody else. Honestly,
Blades needs to leave.
Blades needs to retire, unfortunately. Yeah. And he's like a nice guy and all.
Honestly, the UFC should pay another organization to just pay him tons
of money. They should trade Curtis Blades.
Trade Curtis Blades for someone else.
Anybody.
Roberto Soldic, man, trade him. Someone.
But anyways, another guy who I think the UFC maybe should look to trading too, or at least cutting, is Darren Till. Like, what goes on? What happens if he loses this week? I know we made a video the other week, but we need to talk about it again. It's Darren Till fight week.
Yeah.
So do you think he's actually going to show up this weekend? Like, what do you think he's going to get? Like a
honestly, man, I don't know. Because Darren Till, from what I've seen, he's a guy that has in the past shown up on like Thursday or Wednesday of a pay-per-view. He did this at UFC 244, and I'm looking up his Instagram right now, and
some pictures.
I think he's going to show up. I think he's going to show up. He hasn't posted any stories or nothing, but here's the thing,
that's a good sign, by the way.
Yeah, it's a good sign that he's not posting anything. I think that means he's on his way to Vegas. First of all, I want to see Hamzat in this corner. Like, I'd love to see that. But here's the thing. I didn't see him training with Hamzat for this camp.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And Dricus du Plessis is a grappler. Like, I know he's a striker. He's got good striking, but his base is grappling. He didn't drill. He wasn't drilling with Hamzat. What is up with that? Like, I don't get it at all.
I think they got into some sort of beef or something.
No, I don't know, man. I don't think that's because they were hanging out like just a month ago or something. I mean, I'm starting to question what Darren Till's doing, because he's training at, a good camp for guys like strikers, but I feel like his striking is decent. He just needs to work on his grappling and his takedown defense, because I think if it's just a pure stand-up battle, I think he beats Dricus du Plessis. Yeah. The issue here is, number one, he can't get in shape anymore. And I think a big part of that is due to the fact that he's injured his collarbone before. He's tore his ACL. And, if you break your collarbone, you may not be able to put up the same numbers. You may not be able to get the same muscle mass on your chest or on your frame as you were back in the day. And I think we're starting to see a Darren Till with a lot of injuries who can't train as hard as he used to. And because of that, his body composition has gotten worse. He's lost a little bit of muscle. He's lost a little bit of strength. And he's not the same kind of dangerous athlete. Like, he used to be a physical specimen back in the day, one of the biggest welterweights, and now he's just a run-of-the-mill 185er with a good left hand and a good kick. Like, first of all, he doesn't throw combinations. He doesn't throw more than 2 techniques, a leg kick, a body kick, and a left hand. He hardly ever throws a 1-2. It's like he knows how to make it close, but he's very, very one-dimensional, and I want to see him mix it up. But here's the thing. Dricus du Plessis is a good striker, and he's a good grappler. And if he's shooting takedowns, if he's mixing it up, then I think he wins. And it's really sad because Darren Till has the charisma. He's got the star power. He's got a personality. He's a fun guy. You know, he's a striker.
Entertaining
He's
fighter.
interesting. You know, some of his I don't know if he doesn't have the best fights, but like he could be
No,
entertaining.
he's been in some good fights. Masvidal,
Yeah, Masvidal was a good one. Wonderboy was a little slow, but that I think. I mean, yeah, I'd like to see Darren do well. It's just I just could see him getting knocked out or taken down and just beat up on the ground, and I mean, or submitted. And if that happens, it's got to be one of the saddest things ever because Darren Till one time was fighting Tyron Woodley for a title, and it seems like it's all gone downhill. Like if we think about it, Darren Till's only win since Tyron Woodley
was
is
Gastelum.
Kelvin Gastelum. So he lost to Woodley, and then after that got knocked out by Masvidal, beat Kelvin Gastelum, then lost to Whitaker and lost to Brunson. He's got one win out of his last 5, which is sad.
After starting his career undefeated too.
After starting, I mean, honestly, man, I really hope, but also like he looks physically worse. So I hope his skills.
I have a new
better.
theory to that, by the way. I think like it's unfortunate to say, but I think he's an alcoholic. That's my theory.
Oh man, he could be one because the thing is, like, he's been getting knocked out and he's probably depressed.
You see, when people like alcoholics, their face looks bloated. They don't look like you. They look bloated. You know what I mean? I think he looks very bloated.
Drinking
he's
and
got
driving.
a more belly. You know what I mean? He got in trouble for that over the summer, I believe. Was it over the summer? It was sometime late in 2022
in Sweden. He got pulled over for
that. That's my theory. I think he's an alcoholic, and
and on top of that, I think the fact that he's gotten so many injuries, he can't train as hard, and that's why he's gotten smaller. He's an alcoholic too, and you know, first of all, I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say this, like, you know, I think the guy has. I think you might be onto something because if I look into, you know, what Darren Till's personal life is looking like, you know, and just because he does post photos of his wife and his kids, he's never with them. He's never with them. And I think that this is a man that's running around, you know, who's a little lost.
Yeah.
I don't think he has his priorities straight. And I feel bad because, dude, Darren Till's a guy who's easy to root for, but it's just so sad because it's like he just fumbles every time, man. I mean, he gave Robert Whitaker a close fight, and like this is what's happened. It's so sad, man. I want Darren Till to win. I think Dricus Du Plessis is going to land a big overhand right on him, and I think he's going to choke him out.
Mm-hmm.
But if here's the thing, I will make that pick, but I will be so happy if Darren Till knocks him out.
Oh yeah, I think Darren Till's going to get hurt. That's what my prediction is. I think he's going to get hurt. Unfortunately,
you think it's going to be like Tom Aspinall?
I think it's going to be more of like a. I think it's going to be like what happened to what's his name, the guy who Jan Blachowicz, Rakic.
Rakic. You think it's going to be like one of those?
Yeah.
Damn,
unfortunately, because his knees are awful. You know what I mean? Like he's had so much
problems
in the last few years.
I hope he's not injured going into this. He probably is a little. I just hope he's
probably
not really.
is like. I just like the dude doesn't train hard until training camp starts. So like you're always gonna get injured in that situation, in that case. You know what I mean? So I think he must be coming in with injuries over the summer. He had
with Hamza, bro.
Over the summer, he was supposed to fight Hermanson, obviously, and that got canceled because of his knee. So I don't know how much like your knee can get better in that time. You know what I mean? Like who knows? Like it could still be messed up. I tweaked my knee a little bit over the summer around that time, and it's still I feel it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure his is a lot worse than mine. So yeah. So,
dude, should he just pull out? Just to save him from the embarrassment.
I don't know if you pull out because
I think I don't think he should pull out.
UFC cuts him if he pulls out. Because
no, I honestly think they do. I think if Darren Till loses, I think he might just get cut.
Yeah, and then he'll become Chimaev's water boy or something.
Dude, here's another thing. Why he was training with Chimaev, and that was interesting because we knew that, you know, Darren Till needed some help with his takedown defense and grappling, and he has not trained with Chimaev for the entirety of the last like month or two where he's been in Thailand. I know he's trained with Chimaev here and there in the early fall, but Chimaev has not been a part of his training camp. And I'm starting to worry because like, does Darren Till even realize that this guy's going to be shooting some takedowns on him? Because I get the idea that Dricus Du Plessis just wants to win. And he said that he learned a lesson after his fight with Brad Tavares. He said that, you know, I learned a lot from that fight. I don't want to get into a war like that anytime soon. I'm just looking for the win, and I think he might try to shoot for takedowns. And I'm excited. I'm really excited. I honestly have to say, if you were to guarantee me right now that Darren Till's healthy and he's not going to get injured like that in the fight, this is the one I'm most excited for.
Yeah.
I'm even more excited for this now in the main event because
Oh, I
I
agree.
really want Darren Till to win. If there's anyone that I want to win right now on this card, it's Darren Till. I'm just going to pick against him because I think he loses.
Yeah, I think he's gonna lose too, unfortunately. I would have rather seen him against a guy like Hermanson, especially after seeing what happened last.
Oh man, I think that'd be a much better fight for him.
Yeah, exactly. Especially after seeing what happened last night.
Yeah.
But
Hermanson's
yeah,
not as physically strong
yeah,
as like some of these
doesn't
other
have the
guys.
power like
Dricus
Duplessis.
Duplessis is a tank.
Also, the thing is, look, let's if Hermanson fights Duplessis tomorrow, who wins? Duplessis. You know,
I think Duplessis wins.
Duplessis smokes him, in my opinion. I think Hermanson is honestly, he was one of the worst. I think he was the worst eighth ranked fighter of all time, honestly. Like that dude's trash. And we saw yesterday, he lost to a guy who fought on like a week's notice, you know, who came in on a week's notice, wasn't even ranked, you know what I'm saying? And he lost. He got embarrassed. So the dude's trash. So I think that would have been a way better opponent for Darren Till. And I think Duplessis is an awful matchup for him. That dude, he's tough, he's big, he's in shape.
Yeah.
You know, like he
hits hard, dude. He's got good.
He hits hard. It's a
grappling.
recipe of disaster for Darren Till. But I'm just hoping that he wins, though. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I like Duplessis,
but I could give less of a shit if he's fighting Darren Till. I want Till to win.
I like Duplessis too. Yeah,
but if Darren Till could knock this dude out, that might be one of the best moments.
That would be amazing. Yeah, and then there'd be more fun fights for him to make. With him,
then he could fight, you know, Izzy.
Yeah. Izzy
fight,
that'd be a good fight, yeah.
Costa
Till would be a great fight.
Yeah.
That'd be a great fight if Darren Till.
But Till did train a little bit with Vettori, which is good.
Yeah.
You know,
maybe that's good because Vettori trains hard. You know what I'm saying?
Vettori's a good grappler. He trains hard. He pushes the pace. But I hope Till is relatively healthy. And oh man, it just sucks that, you know, it's so sad that at one point we were looking at like Darren Till's gonna destroy Brunson. We think he's gonna knock him out, and then like, damn it, dude.
Yeah. Also, think about
now we're just looking at it like we're just expecting to be sad with the outcome.
Yeah. Also, you were saying about the thing with Chimaev, him training with Chimaev, that he trained with him a few times. But I think the thing about training with Chimaev is that's a guy you want to train with late in your training camp. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll really, like I know he's the great grappler and stuff, so he'll really help with the grappling, but he's going to help with your overall mindset. You know what I'm saying? He's going to make you train harder. The guy's going to push you with anything you do. So I think having that guy around like later in your camp when it gets really difficult is what would make more of a difference. So I think that is a real concern. I don't know what the deal was. Maybe Chimaev had some other stuff going on, but still, I think that could have really helped him. Would have it made him win? I don't know because Duplessis is a beast. But I definitely think it would have for sure helped. But yeah, no, Darren Till, I'm really hoping he wins. Will I pick him to win? No, I think Duplessis is going to win. I think Darren Till is going to get hurt. I hate predicting.
So how do you think it ends? I'm going to go with Duplessis by a first round submission.
You think first round? I think
he's gonna hurt him and submit him in the first round.
I think it might
be a bad pick. I just think that's what happened.
I think third round he's gonna get like a leg kick, and I think
honestly I won't even be that upset if he makes it to the third round. At least we'll get to see him. I mean, I think if Darren Till makes it out of the first round, that's dangerous for Duplessis.
Yes, but I really think he's gonna hurt his knee. I hate to say it, but I really feel like he's gonna hurt his knee. I just think he doesn't train hard before until training camp starts. He's has the knee problems already. Like I think Duplessis
is gonna try to.
I think he's gonna chop at his legs, and I think one of those is gonna hurt his knee. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but if Darren Till wins, I'm gonna be real happy though. But another guy who's on the card, another guy from UK. Paddy Pimblett. He's got a tough task in front of him. Gordon's a tough guy, but I definitely still think Paddy wins this fight.
Yeah, but, I think he's going to submit him. And I honestly, hold on. I like Paddy Pimblett's chances of knocking him out too, because Gordon doesn't have much power in his hands. He's tough. He's like a workhorse, but I've seen a couple of his fights and I'm not impressed. Like I just see a guy who's tough, who likes to go forward and is really disciplined and is kind of well-rounded, but I'm not seeing a guy who presents any significant amount of danger. And Paddy Pimblett, say what you want, but he's still dangerous on the ground and is probably one of the better submission threats at lightweight, period. Like, is his striking all that good? No, I think it's, we would get knocked out by a lot of guys, but I think Paddy Pimblett could just knock this guy out. Because I think he's gonna finish him, and I think he's gonna finish. I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna watch a couple more of these fights, but my early prediction for this, I think Paddy Pimblett finishes this guy in the second round. I'm gonna go to the second round submission. I think that's the best pick I can make. Second round submission.
Yeah, I feel like at some point soon, Paddy Pimblett's gonna lose. Not gonna lie.
Oh, yeah.
I think I just don't think he's that good, like as a fighter. You know what I mean? I think he's a little reckless. He's hittable. I know he's got great jiu-jitsu, but you can take him down though. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think when he goes up the rankings, I think he's gonna lose like pretty soon. Maybe his next fight or the fight after. But I think Gordon, I think like his Paddy's pay-per-view debut, I think they're putting him against a guy who I think they think that he could probably win against.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be picking Paddy too. I think he's gonna win by third round submission. I think it's gonna be a really close fight, but I think eventually towards the later end of the second half,
it's gonna be a war.
Maybe like I don't know if it'll be a war. I just think that like it'll be debatable who's up. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I don't see that at all. And the reason I don't see that is because like, when you take a guy as confident as Paddy with this much hype, like certain guys get in the cage and they just have an aura where like whatever happens, it's gonna be fireworks. Like McGregor on his come up. Like that guy would not have a boring fight, period. He never has.
I mean, I think it'll be an entertaining fight. I just think it'll be close. You know what I'm saying? Like
I think if it's going to be close, this thing could be a war, like straight up. And I think Paddy Pimblett's going to get the better of Gordon. I think Gordon is probably training his ass off. Anyone that fights Pimblett, it's like fighting McGregor. You're going to train as hard as you can to try to take his hype.
Shut this guy off,
to shut him up. I just think Paddy Pimblett has like, when you're that confident, and he may not be the most disciplined guy, he may not be the most talented guy, but he's dangerous. And when you're that confident, it shakes people. And I could see, Jordan Levitt, he's not, I don't think he's like top 10 worst guys at lightweight. I think he's okay. He's never going to be ranked. But, he was shook when Paddy Pimblett walked out. Like he was not ready for the moment. Paddy Pimblett, I feel like guys aren't ready for a moment that big until it's like a big fighter, like who's got a lot of experience, like a Poirier or someone with big fight experience. And I just think that's going to break a lot of these guys like Gordon. I think that Gordon is just going to, I think Paddy Pimblett's confidence is going to take him into the rankings. That's what I think. I think Paddy Pimblett is like the most impressive guy based on his confidence right now. And that's why I love to watch him. And I think he could be a massive star, to be honest, because of it. Because, if this guy keeps finishing people, that's going to be his fourth finish in a row in the UFC. Yeah. Which is impressive at lightweight. 4 finishes in a row at lightweight when you have that much hype is impressive. And I've heard him talk about how him and Conor McGregor would sell the biggest pay-per-view of all time. That's a little bit delusional because I understand he thinks he's a big star, but what made that fight so big as well, other than the fact that it was just Conor and Khabib, was the fact that it was competitive and Khabib was a champion. And Conor McGregor was
Khabib was so dominant before that.
And Conor McGregor, right before that fight in the UFC, had just won his second belt, right? He fought Floyd, but before that, he was still like a dominant champion, like not a guy who would defend his belts, but Conor McGregor was like the man.
He was a top 3 pound for pound fighter.
Yeah, still top 3 pound for pound. Like he had just had 2 belts a year ago. That was Khabib, a champion. Like that was competitive and high level. Paddy Pimblett's not on that level. If he fought Conor, I think it would sell like 1.8. But
yeah, which is still good. But yeah, no, I don't.
I don't think it's
to say it would break records is delusional.
It would not break records.
Khabib also at that point had a bigger fan base than Paddy
Islam.
Pimblett. You know what I mean?
He had a bigger fan base than a lot of these. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. So I think.
But I think I want Paddy to win because I think it's good for the sport if he wins. I don't think he can beat a guy like Poirier, like Chandler. I don't think he can beat these guys at the top of the lightweight division. I think even Terrence McKinney might finish him. I mean, these guys like that hit really hard, that are just
Mhm.
explosive.
Jalen
Um,
Turner beats him.
Jalen Turner
Um,
beats him.
maybe
Yeah.
Brad Riddell versus him would be a good
No,
fight.
I think he destroys Brad Riddell. I think Brad Riddell sucks, to be honest.
Yeah, Brad. He only got the
I
height
think he would
advantage.
take Brad. I think Brad Riddell is small for lightweight. And I think he'd take him down and submit him in
Jalen
one.
Moicano maybe versus Paddy.
That'd be a tough fight for Paddy Pimblett.
That'd be a good fight. Be a tough fight for Moicano too.
Yeah,
Maybe that's the next fight to make. Who knows?
I don't think they're
But
going to toss him up the rankings.
yeah, maybe not. But yeah, in terms of Paddy, I think I like. Look, I think people like him, but to say that it would do like records is crazy. The dude has never fought on a pay per view in his life yet. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I just
Let's
remembered we're going to get to see him at a press conference for the first time.
yeah. So we'll see.
I'm
I don't
excited,
know.
dude. If he can do the opposite of what O'Malley did, which is like be nervous and like not say anything entertaining. O'Malley at a press conference is like watching paint dry. One of the worst guys ever at a press conference.
Which
Yet
is
he
so
talks like
weird,
he's trying to be Conor McGregor. Like I hope Paddy Pimblett actually talks some shit. Because if he wants to be a big star, he has to talk some shit. That's just how the fight game goes.
Yeah, you got it. You got to be a better trash talker because O'Malley, I think, is going to be a pretty big star, but he'll never be like a huge star just because of the trash talk. I think Chimaev's even a decent trash talker. You know what I mean? Like he's good on the mic. So I think that's why Chimaev. When someone asked me like, who do you think's a bigger star? Chimaev, who's going to be a bigger star, Chimaev or Sean O'Malley? I said Chimaev, and it doesn't have anything to do with the social media. It has to do with the trash talk, you know, and also the level. So the skill level. So I think Chimaev's a lot more skilled than O'Malley, and has a way higher ceiling than O'Malley, and he's better in the mic. So I think, Paddy. I mean, if he's good on the mic, then like,
man, I really
no matter how
Paddy
good his
Pimblett.
skill is, he'll be a big star. You know what I'm saying? Because we see guys like Nate Diaz who aren't necessarily the best fighters be huge stars. You know what I'm saying? So I think he'd be a pretty big star. I'm interested to see how he looks at the press conference too. I'm interested to see him fight on his first pay-per-view and hopefully get a win, you know, because like you said, he's better. Him winning is better for this sport. So I want to see him get a win. I want to see him call someone out after, and I want to see this guy, see how far this guy can go in the rankings. So
dude, I want to see him finish. I want to see him trash talk so much, man, because if he trash talks Jared Gordon, that'll be just so entertaining because we know Jan Blachowicz and Magomed are not going to trash talk. Dricus, Duplessis, and Darren Till, they may say some words back and forth.
I think they may.
I think Dricus is a guy who's not afraid to trash talk, actually. But man, I just really want to see Pimblett like make some news headlines because if again, like these guys that are up and coming stars, like come on, man, like talk some shit.
That's what you need to do.
It's a show. It's a show.
That's how Conor got the hype. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how
these guys they're always saying just you'll watch me fight. Like it's not about that, bro. Just talk some shit. Like, dude, just imagine if you have another guy who can talk shit. That's gonna be all over YouTube. Conor McGregor went viral in part because of his trash talking. If it wasn't for his trash talking, he would have never been as big as he is today. Not even close.
No, never. Exactly.
And that's what got a lot of casual fans like me. I started watching Conor McGregor. I started watching the UFC in 2016 because it was Conor talking shit on YouTube against like Nate Diaz. Like that's what got me interested in their first fight, you know, because I saw Conor and Nate Diaz go back and forth and I thought it was so entertaining. I'm like, I would need to watch this.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. You couldn't have said it any better. These guys need to start talking.
And John Jones Cormier, when they were going back and forth way back in the day,
that was
2014.
So entertaining.
I was like, shit, I need to watch this fight. Like, you know what I mean?
Both times, yeah. Especially
that's how you get the casual fans to tune in. Like, we were all a casual at some point. That's how you get them in, and that's how you become a big star.
Yeah, exactly. Something else I want to talk about, a guy who tries to trash talk, but is real shitty at it, to be honest. But Triple C versus Aljo. That fight is apparently done. It's apparently going to happen in March or April. I'm excited for this fight. I really am, it says this fight happening shows why bantamweight right now is the best division without a doubt. So March it may be happening apparently on the John Jones card for Stipe. No, versus Francis. We don't know yet if John Jones is going to come back, obviously, but that fight is going to happen. Who do you think has the who do you think is going to win?
I think Aljo. I've gone a little bit back and forth, but you know, this is different. It's not like Wonderboy. Wonderboy's been active. Henry Cejudo's hasn't fought in what since
Two
in
years,
2 years,
almost 3 years.
2020.
It'll be 3 years at
Yeah,
that point. Yeah.
spring of 2020. It was the first big pay-per-view card. It was the Gagey Tony Ferguson card. He beat Dominic Cruz. So I'm looking at his past wins. Cruz, right? That's not a serious grappler. Like he's got wrestling, but he doesn't really use it all that much. Let's be honest. He's more of a striker who's got a wrestling base. Then we have Marlon Moraes, who is dangerous, but completely lost his chin and is very one-dimensional. Then we have, TJ Dillashaw, who in my opinion has always never been like I think TJ was a guy of the past. Like guys today are better than TJ Dillashaw was, straight up. He was good, a great striker, but he wasn't even in his prime anymore. And I feel like he was never that incredible.
He was at a bad weight cut.
And then Demetrius Johnson, which was his most impressive win, but he arguably lost that fight. Anyway, that was a long time ago when he beat Demetrius Johnson. That was like what, 2018, 2019, early 2019.
Yeah, like
so
2018.
It's been a while since he's fought. Aljamain Sterling, I'm not really going to put too much stake in his TJ win, but I'll look at his Peter Yan win, and I'll look at his fights leading up to that. He's been active, and dude, he was outstriking Yan in certain rounds. He outstruck Yan in the first round of the rematch. He outstruck Yan in the first round of their first fight, in the second round of their first fight. Yeah. He has good striking. People underrated striking.
Unorthodox.
And he's unorthodox. He throws a lot of strikes. He's very fast, and he's much stronger. He's a physical presence. I don't know, man. If Cejudo comes back looking as good as he used to, I think he would, but I just don't think, I think that long of a layoff, he got fat. He didn't, I think he's coming back for money. Yeah, he's been drinking. Like, sure, he's taking it seriously now and he has the mindset, but I just think it's too late. I think it's too late. I'm going to pick Aljamain Sterling. I'm going to go with Aljamain Sterling by decision.
Yeah, I think Aljo is going to submit him in the first or second round, honestly. I know Henry Cejudo's had a great career. I know, like, in my opinion, he's one of the most slept on guys of all time in terms of like the all-time list. Great career. I just think, like you said,
it's a close fight, though.
I don't necessarily think it's going to be close because I don't know how Henry wins this fight. I just...
Striking is his path to victory.
Yeah, like, yes, but at the same time, like, I just think Aljo's unorthodoxness is going to really, like, fuck with him. And I think Aljo's has the reach advantage. Aljo's, like, way longer. Like, I just don't see... Yeah, I generally don't see how Henry wins this fight. Even in the striking.
Well, let me ask you. Do you think Aljamain Sterling will be able to take him down
with ease?
Easily, yeah.
No.
I think it's going to be really hard. That's why I'm not saying I don't think he's going to finish him early.
Yeah. I think the thing about that is I think the fight will start off on the feet, obviously. I think there's going to be some striking exchanges, and I think Aljo will really beat him up like a bit on the feet. I think he's going to shoot for a takedown. I don't think he's going to get the takedown, but I think eventually towards the end of the round, I think he's going to take him down. I think he's going to put him in some uncomfortable positions, and I think in the second round, he'll finish it by like some sort of submission. But I just think the thing about Aljo is I just think that the dude only needs to get you down once to win that round. You know what I'm saying? So, or to get the submission. So he could shoot 18 times and one of them, he gets one of them. Like there's a real chance he's either going to win the round he's for sure going to win the round, if not the fight right there. So I think that, I also think that the division has really evolved since then. Like, I think a guy like Aljo is just like, I don't think the division has ever seen a guy like Aljo. You know what I'm saying? I think his fighting style is so unorthodox. He's super strong. His striking is keeps getting better. His grappling is next level. We talked about it last week. We think he's a top 3 grappler in the UFC without a doubt. Great wrestler too. Like, this guy doesn't have a weakness in his game. Really good chin. I know he got knocked out by Moraes, but that was a really long time ago. His chin has been great since then. So I just don't really know how Henry is going to win this fight. I just don't. Yeah, I don't see Henry winning this fight. I think Aljo will likely submit him in the second round. But I'm excited for this fight. I'm actually really excited for this fight. They were debating about having Aljo fight again. I actually watched. Did you see Aljo's full podcast about that whole fight?
No, what did he say?
He was talking to the UFC because he wanted to fight O'Malley. That's the bigger fight, that's the easier fight. The UFC told him that why they don't want to have him fight him is because he says like, oh yeah, O'Malley's more popular to the casuals. To the guys who are hardcores and who the majority of UFC fans, a win over Henry Cejudo would be more impressive. You know
Oh,
what I'm
we
saying?
think so. We agree.
Yeah, so that's what got him to do it. And also like you beat Cejudo and then you fight, then you have a little bit more fight, and then you beat Sean O'Malley and you have even more hype. So
Yeah,
yeah, I like that he's fighting Cejudo first. That's the better fight in my
it's
opinion.
a
I think
harder fight. Yeah,
Aljo would smoke O'Malley in my opinion. And I don't
I think he smokes him too.
I want to see that fight just because it's O'Malley fighting for the belt. But I don't think it's gonna be a close fight. You know what I'm
Dude, I
saying? So
think he smokes him because the thing is, like, Petr Yan took down O'Malley easily. He didn't really hold him down, but like Aljamain Sterling could take him down too.
and he'll hold him
And
there.
if he takes him down, he holds him down and beats him. So I want to see this. I want to see Cejudo, Aljamain main event, co-main event would be O'Malley and Cheeto Vera for 5 rounds.
Ooh,
That has to be the next
if
one.
I'm O'Malley, I'm not taking that though.
Dude, if I'm O'Malley,
Nah,
that's the
too
biggest
risky.
fight. It's big.
But you got to realize
You
this.
could get pay-per-view points.
Like, yes, but at the same time, this is what you got to realize. Like,
And first of all, risky. What's more risky? Like, first of all,
but it's fighting for the belt.
Fighting Aljo is risky. Like,
yes, but that's for the belt, and anything could happen.
but I think he'd beat. I think he likes his chances with Vera more than
does,
he does
but
with Aljo.
just listen to this. So but you got to think of it like this: if Aljo, if Sean waits, fights for the belt, whether he wins or loses, you can make a huge argument for him to fight Cheeto, regardless. You know what I'm saying?
I just think that fight with Cheeto has to happen at some point. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen, but I think it should happen after he fights for the belt, because if he wins, it'll be his first title defense. If he loses, he'll still fight him. You know what I mean? It's just to get another chance.
I understand that.
That fight makes sense in both situations.
That. I just want to see it as a fan. Like, for me, here's the thing. If I'm O'Malley, I think that I'm doing what you're saying. I think that I'm waiting. But if I'm a fan, I want to see him fight because it just makes the card better. I want to see Cejudo and Aljo, and I want to see O'Malley and Cheeto. The reason why I don't really care if it's a risk for him is because I don't think he beats Aljo to begin with. So I just would rather see him fight Cheeto anyway for 5 rounds as a co-main event, a big bantamweight fest. Throw Petr Yan on there as well against someone else.
Against Marab.
Seriously, Petr Yan against I think Marab should leave the UFC, but I think Petr Yan versus anyone, honestly.
Yeah.
I think Petr Yan's going to be champ again. I really do.
I don't know. I mean, that's what I thought, but it's going to be a hard path to get back there. But
it will be.
Yeah, no, I think Cejudo versus Aljo, it's a great fight. I'm super excited for it. I want to see O'Malley wait. People are like, the thing that's kind of like is kind of crazy. I don't know if you've heard it too, but people are assuming that like if like they're like, let's have Sean like wait till just the summer to fight. He'll work on his grappling and stuff, and he'll have a better chance. But that's not something you could really like you're not gonna like catch up to a guy like Aljo in that short a period of time. You know what I'm saying? It's like it doesn't really make a difference. So you know what I mean? Like it's not. He has like good jujitsu, but it's different. Like even against Petr Yan, he was grabbing the fence and cheating to get up. Like he wasn't really using. He wasn't like showing how great of a grappler he was. I mean, yeah. I still think that Petr Yan should have beat him, and I'm still a little salty. Yeah, I think so too. It was a close fight though. So like looking back,
close fight, but still,
I don't have as much of a problem with it. But Petr Yan should have won that fight. But speaking of big stars, you see RDA call out Conor McGregor. That fight is never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen. Like if you're gonna call out Conor,
he just made a fool out of himself. Honestly,
he calls out Conor after every one of his wins. By the way, I don't know if you've noticed, but he always calls out Conor.
That's just like
he called him out after Fiziev. Here's the thing: if you're gonna call out McGregor, then you have to show that you're an entertaining fighter. Like. For a hardcore fan, RDA is entertaining. You watch him like work to a better position, then get a finish, a submission. He's a good fighter. He's got a good skill set. He broke the record for the most time spent in the octagon ever, which is impressive. He's always going to be a guy that can be ranked. He's always going to be a guy that can beat up on guys outside of the rankings. He's a great fighter. The thing is, Conor McGregor doesn't want to just come back to fight a guy who's just got a good skill set. He wants to come back and fight a guy who's going to stand and bang with him. He wants to fight with a guy who's going to, have a gentleman's agreement to like, listen, this is an MMA fight, but, we're going to stand and we're going to knock each other.
Almost like how Holland and
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what Conor wants. Conor wants to come back to someone who the fans go crazy about. A Chandler, a Gagey, someone like that. Volkanovski, even like even a Oliveira maybe, because Oliveira is entertaining. Conor doesn't want to fight a guy who
Ooh.
is that could be the
I
fight.
like that fight.
But that's the thing. Hold on. Like that's the thing. I think it's not necessarily that he can't fight any guy who grapples, but he wants to fight a guy who's going to stand with him and trade. And
Yeah.
and RDA, even if he does that, is like not
Gonna shoot.
he's not that entertaining. He's never been the most entertaining fighter. Maybe in his prime he was, but right now he's too smart. And I know I can't rip someone for being too smart, but he's too smart of a fighter to be like, making these entertaining Michael Chandler style fights. And Connor's never going to fight a guy like that. You're not going to make as much money. You want to fight a guy like Paddy Pimblett or, someone has a banger fight. I think Conor should fight. I think he should fight Dan Hooker. I think he should fight, that'd be kind of like the Cerrone fight against a guy like Dan Hooker. I think he should fight, Gagey or Masvidal. I'm still saying it. Him versus Masvidal is the biggest fight you can make.
That is
any Conor fight.
I think you wait on that fight though. I think that fight.
Why wait? Like if you
because
wait,
because Conor may lose. Because Conor may lose. That's why.
But Conor's going to lose against all these guys, in my opinion.
I don't think he loses
against all these guys.
I don't think he loses against Hooker. I don't think he loses. I think you bring Hooker up to 170. I think Conor knocks him out.
I think Conor could beat Hooker.
Yeah, I think Conor smokes Hooker.
But that's my point. Like he could. Here's the thing, and I just want to say this about Conor. This is my biggest point, and whenever I talk about Conor, this is in the back of my mind. I don't think of the Conor McGregor that was knocking out Alvarez. I don't think of the Conor McGregor that was even knocking out Cowboy 2 years ago. Had a good performance over Cowboy. Even that isn't the Conor in my head. The Conor in my head is the Conor that's on Instagram, smoking blunts, at the bar, drunk, shooting movies. This guy, like 65% of the time, when he is not training, okay? When Conor is in conversations with guys like Gagey, with guys like Hooker, I know that these guys need to fight to make money. Conor McGregor is fighting at the gym or sparring at the gym for fun. He loves it, but he's not as hungry, and I cannot possibly expect him to be at the same level. In my opinion, when I speak of Conor, this is a guy that every year he's getting worse, and older. That's what he's smoking blunts. He's at the bar. Like he's not the same guy. So I can't, when I think about him and Dan Hooker, like back in the day, he would smoke him, but now it's a little even. I have to say it.
Yeah, I think Conor's best bet would be bring someone from 155 to 70 who's never fought at 70. So I think you'd have an advantage over them because he has fought.
Yeah. I think the UFC should just let him juice up like one of these baseball players in the 90s. Let him juice and let him fight anyone.
I want to see him versus Gaethje. Actually, that's the fight.
Him versus Gaethje is the fight to make
at 170. You have him fight Gaethje at 170. Gaethje's already had gassing out concerns. You make Gaethje way heavier, like the concerns go up even more. So. And you make him fight in a weight class he's never fought against.
Conor loves 170 so much. I get he's bigger, but like, isn't he more skilled at 155? Like, he doesn't have the same power at 170. I don't think.
But the reason because he doesn't want to do those weight cuts. That's
fair enough.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think that gives him a huge advantage over these guys at 155, bringing them up. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he goes against Gaethje at 170, I'm picking Conor. I don't know about you, but I'm picking Conor.
I mean, I can see it. But like here's the issue, man. After one round, it's all downhill. Like, in my opinion,
it may be for Gaethje too, because Gaethje at 170, he's never fought with that kind of weight. You know what I'm saying? He's already had gas concerns.
You may be right, because here's the thing. Like, when I looked at Conor's last few fights with Poirier, especially the rematch where he got knocked out, like Poirier is one of the best strikers in MMA. Gaethje's not even top 25 and 30 in my opinion.
Not even top 50.
He's just a brawler, and he's very dangerous. He is very dangerous.
He's got power,
he's got power. He's good at what he does, but he's nowhere near the skill level of a Dustin Poirier. So, like, I could definitely see Conor being able to rock him. But, dude, Gaethje and Ali Abdelaziz, I mean, I don't know if Ali Abdelaziz is saying it, but Gaethje keeps saying he doesn't want to fight Conor because he knows he's juicing.
When that
that's so stupid for Gaethje.
When that paycheck comes out, he'll take the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just saying that right now to make a
Do
built
you
up
think
against.
Conor even wants like who did we have no idea
He
who Conor
wants to
wants
fight.
to
I
fight?
think it's Gaethje. I think he wants to fight.
The last guy Conor called out was Kamaru Usman. Like this is a year ago. He hasn't called out anyone.
I think he wants to fight. I think he'd want to fight
But
Gaethje. I
why
think
do you think he wants to fight Gagey? It makes sense, but why do
it
you
makes
like? Has he ever said
because
anything about?
because they've had beef in the past. They've had some back and forth.
Dude,
Gaethje's
I would
doing the
love to see Conor
steroids.
talk shit against. I don't like Gagey at all.
Oh, dude,
I'm gonna be
I
real. I
like
don't like Gagey at
he's a
all. I've
nice
never liked him.
he's like a nice guy, but I just think his like he's not like a very skilled fighter. He kind of just wins based off of just like power. You know,
But
like he
he's
hits like
talked
a truck.
shit, and people say he's a nice guy. He was talking shit going into the Charles fight, calling him a quitter and all this. Like he's always been a little bit of a. I feel like Gagey's. I don't like the way he speaks about
He's
other
not a very
fighters. I
smart
honestly
guy.
don't.
He's not a
Like
very smart
because when
guy.
Gagey talks shit about people, it's not like in a trash talking way. He's always dead serious, and I don't like that.
Yeah, he's also not a very
I
smart
think he's a
guy.
little bit. I think he has a stick up his ass. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah,
So
I
Gagey,
think
if you see me, come at me. I'm just playing.
I think 170 Gaethje Conor is the fight to make. Ali is seems like he's
Bro,
interested
what
in that
about
fight too.
170? Okay, here, let's give our top three Connor
Yeah.
fights. Right
Okay.
now, for me, top three, it is, I would say Gagey Connor. Then I would say Masvidal Connor. I think that's real. And then Hooker Connor.
I would say I don't like the Masvidal one as much right now. I don't because I think Masvidal would probably win that, and I think I want to see Conor win. So I think Gaethje at 170. I think Dan Hooker at 170, and I think he'd have a huge advantage over Hooker because Hooker fought at 145 recently. So I think at 170, Hooker would gas out real quick. Those two, and the third one, the third one's tough because you Masvidal, I would like that fight, but at the same time, like I think he loses. So maybe Poirier 4.
No.
No,
Poirier destroys him, man. He destroys him,
at
bro.
172, you think?
Yes, dude. Poirier kills Conor McGregor. Like, I don't want to see that. Let's be honest, dude. Like, what do you think Conor's showing up as? The Conor
Yeah.
that showed up against Poirier, that was like in the rematch. That was a long time ago, bro.
That's almost 2 years ago. Yeah.
And since then, he's only what has he been doing? He's had a leg break.
Yeah.
He got knocked out, and then he broke his leg. He's been out. Like, he's not been getting better. Conor is not getting any better, bro. And
No.
this is what I'm gonna say. Like, I only think we're ever going to see Conor fight two more times in the UFC.
Two more.
That's why I say things like Masvidal, because like, what are we waiting for? He's 34. He's only getting older. He's not getting better. He's only getting worse. You cannot possibly get better if you're shooting movies, out drinking at bars, like not like on yachts, also walking around with a broken leg for half the year.
I thought of something. I thought of something. What if Leon beats Usman?
I think, dude, but I think it could happen, but Conor would get killed, dude.
But like, would that not be
no
a banger?
Chance to beat Leon, man. I'm
No,
sorry.
I don't think he does. But would that not be a banger?
It wouldn't, because like the thing is, I don't think there's anything entertaining about Conor going in there and getting destroyed or submitted
That's
in one
true.
round.
Oh, my third one, Tony Ferguson. I don't want to see it, but I think that's kind of realistic.
Hey, that's better than any. That's okay. Yeah. Like, you know, whatever. But I don't want to see Tony ever fight again. But whatever. Oh. I'll give you that.
But I just think those two guys, Hooker or Gaethje, I don't want to see him against Chandler. I know Chandler really wants that fight. He's been calling for it for the last 2 years. But I think Chandler, if he gets any sort of problem, he's going to shoot for a takedown. I just don't want to see that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see Conor against someone who's grappling, because Conor, as we know, doesn't have the best takedown defense or grappling or wrestling. So I think Chandler would be able to kind of just take him down and like, you know, beat him up there. So I don't want to see that. So I definitely want to see Gaethje number 1, and then Hooker number 2, and then number 3. I those are the kind of like the only two.
Not Mas. You never want to see him fight Masvidal, because
I do want to see the
Conor doesn't have a lot of time left. Because think about it like this: if Conor comes back and gets knocked out, like, you really think
he's not going to get knocked out by
6 months later, a year later? He's like, Conor McGregor takes years off. He's 34. He's not going to keep fighting that much. We're only going to see him fight a couple more times. I need to see the biggest fights and the most realistic fights. Gaethje, Hooker. And I don't want to see him. Masvidal's a big fight. That's why I still think he loses, but at least it's a big fight.
Yeah, I just
And
don't like.
Masvidal's also 38.
I just really think he's gonna lose. That's why I
But
don't
then
want to
you
see
never
it.
get to see it. But then you'll never make that fight. And
Yeah,
Masvidal still
but
can be a draw.
but
So
the
it's
thing
like,
is though, is if Conor gets a win against Dan Hooker or Justin Gaethje, then you make the Masvidal fight because Masvidal will be a little older.
that's different, of course.
You know what
But
I'm
that's why you
saying?
cannot give Connor a guy who's that dangerous. Because, like,
So
as I said,
I think Dan Hooker
only
and
gonna
Justin
fight
Gaethje.
if Conor McGregor loses. He's not fighting within the next year or two.
Actually,
He
you know
might
what?
take another 2 years off.
Number three, I want to see Charles. Number three, Charles.
I
Actually,
mean, that's interesting, but I just still like. What if he gets submitted?
I don't see him Charles taking him down because Charles creates. Look, just think of it. He created the submission against Gaethje because he knocked him down. He submitted him.
How did he submitted Dustin by he submitted Dustin
Dustin.
by
Dustin,
hitting
I
his
think that
back
was
on
a
the
little
feet.
bit different. I think Dustin made a.
He
But that
took
was
his
in round
back
three.
on the feet.
I think Conor has a real chance of knocking out Charles. That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? I think, especially make them fight at 170.
But Charles might not want to fight at 170. Like,
Well, then
how does
then
that
he'll
make
miss the
sense if
fight.
Charles fights at 170?
But then he'll miss the fight. You know, like he
I
won't.
know, I understand, I understand that. I understand that. But here's the thing. Charles Oliveira, like, he's taken down, he's ragdolled Tony Ferguson. Like, he's a good wrestler. He remember, he was on top of Poirier for all of the second round. Like, I don't get the idea that Charles, like, I'm not gonna start thinking of Charles as someone who, like, first of all, how does Charles get his submissions? Like, are we just gonna act like he just out of nowhere gets them? Like, he gets guys down, he gets guys in positions. He's really good at it.
He also
And
gets
I think
hit
he
though.
submits Conor
He
easily.
gets hit though.
He does get hit, but again, he's getting hit by guys that are much more skilled who are also threatening takedowns.
Justin Gaethje wasn't threatening takedown.
He wasn't threatening a takedown, and look at how good Oliveira looked.
No, but Gaethje knocked him down twice before that. How do we know
and
that?
Guess what? And guess what? Why did he win? Because Gaethje wasn't willing to jump on him, where Islam was. That's the difference. These guys aren't like, he was getting knocked down against Chandler, Poirier, Gaethje, but they didn't jump on him because they were afraid. And Conor McGregor is not going to jump on him and submit him like Islam. That's why Islam is so dangerous, because if Islam knocks you down, he's right on you. And that's the thing. It's like Conor might knock him down, but like, what if it reaches the second round? Oliveira's tough. He's going to take a lot of time off. Like, you know what I mean? So I want, here's the thing. Conor's only going to fight a couple more times. I can't just see, okay, give Conor this tough guy and see what happens, and then he'll make a quick 6-month turnaround. That's not how he operates. Conor McGregor loses. We don't see him for another 2 years. By then, he'll be 38.
Oh, if Conor loses, I think it's over for him.
That's what I mean. It's already over.
But that's why
you have to give him winnable fights. You have to.
But that's why I don't know about the Masvidal fight. It's because
I understand.
Like,
I get that.
You know what I'm saying?
I just think it's a big fight.
I have a question. Who do you think is a better chance of Conor winning against, Oliveira or Masvidal? Because I think Oliveira is a better chance of beating.
I honestly, I'm gonna be real. I think he has a better chance of beating Masvidal because it's gonna be a stand-up fight 100%.
But Masvidal is just bigger and like
he is bigger. But the thing is,
and he's
the
tough.
thing is, if it gets out of the first round with Masvidal, Conor still has a chance. If it gets around to the first round with Oliveira, Conor starts to get tired. Oliveira finds some kind of way to take his back. Oliveira could take him down.
Yeah.
He could.
I don't know if he takes him down right away, but as
and Oliveira is not the kind of guy who's just made a pact to, I'm gonna stand with him. Like, Oliveira wants to submit and get the win.
Oh yeah.
So like,
I think the thing about
I'm not just gonna look at Islam's win over Oliveira and discount him. Like, I really think Oliveira still destroys a Conor McGregor right now. And he's gonna take time off, and that'll refresh his chin.
I just think that Islam is Charles is hittable though, so I think that's
very. I think Conor would knock him down. In the first round. I think he would.
But who knows if that puts his lights out? You know what I'm saying?
I don't think Conor has that power anymore at lightweight.
But like, everybody was knocking Charles down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I know, but the thing is, Conor didn't knock Dustin down in the rematch. Like, Conor has power.
But Dustin hasn't gotten knocked down ever, or like he did.
He's got knocked out.
Yeah, but he never. He's got a really good chin. You know what I'm saying? He got knocked out by Michael Johnson.
Of course, he's got a very good chin.
Dustin's got a really good chin though, so like, you don't really see him getting knocked down like that.
He knocked down Justin Gaethje.
Dustin.
Oh, I'm sorry, Oliveira did, but not Oliveira.
Yeah. So I mean, I think Charles would maybe be a more winnable fight, but that point, like, if it keeps going past the first round or goes to the second round, third
Dude,
round.
let's just say Hooker's probably the best. Like, let's be real.
Hooker or Gaethje. I really
Hooker or
think
Gagey, fine. Because
Hooker and
Gagey
Gaethje
is sloppy. That's a
Yeah.
good fight.
Gaethje, and also I think the buildup would be good. You know, I think Conor would talk a lot of shit to him.
Honestly, why can't they just do Conor versus like Jared Gordon, man? Like, come on. We don't care if they have a name. Just get him
But
in there with
Gaethje,
someone
I
who beats.
really think he could beat Gaethje though. That's the thing. Like I think that's a
How do
really
you
good
think Conor
matchup.
versus Jared Gordon goes?
I think Conor would smoke him. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
why not? Why not? Like, here's
but
the thing.
like,
Why not give Conor these? Like, why not give Conor, what you just did for Pimblett? Let him start his career over. Like, imagine how cool this would be. Conor McGregor knockout Jared Gordon. 2 months later, he knocks out the guy that Paddy Pimblett knocked out in his first fight. Like, give
but
him
at
these
the
guys
same
that are
time
barely ranked.
But Conor won't come back in 2 months though. That's the thing. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but the thing is, if he knocks someone out early, Conor's the kind of guy who's like, all right, let's keep the ball rolling. Good business. Like, we want to see another run, and you can only make another run if you put him up against cans. I'm going to make a video called Conor McGregor needs to fight cans now. And this is like, I want to see him fight cans.
I just don't see him doing quick turnarounds anymore, no matter what. You know,
I mean, I don't. But remember, when he fought Poirier for the first time, he was saying, "I want to fight 3-4 times this year."
But
he fought twice that year.
That though, you know, I'm like,
I know, but my point is, if he had won that, I guarantee you he would have fought again in the summer.
And he would have fought.
And if he won that fight, if he won a fight in the summer, he would have fought again in the fall. And that's how you have one of the biggest years ever as Conor. You get 3 wins in 1 year. That's a huge year.
Yeah. So I mean, what if? But like, I want to see the Gaethje though, because I really like. I think that would be would be a great win for Conor. Like, imagine if he beats Gaethje. Like that.
Also, I don't know if I also get the sense that Conor doesn't want to fight guys that he doesn't like. Like, I feel like Conor doesn't, because you know how much money these guys make by fighting him.
Yeah.
I don't think Conor likes Gaethje, and I think he thinks it would be giving him a favor. So maybe he's not going to want to fight.
So does he like Hooker? You think?
I think why would he have a problem with him?
Yeah, that is true. So yeah, Hooker at 170.
Yeah, I like Hooker.
That's the fight to make. Hooker McGregor, UFC 287.
Yeah,
it can happen. UFC.
Well, first things first. I'm gonna go with Magomed Ankalaev. I'm gonna pick him by decision. I think he's gonna win by decision. I am also going to say that I think Paddy Pimblett's gonna get a second round submission over Jared Gordon. I think Dricus du Plessis is going to get a first round submission over Darren Till. I think Joaquin Buckley is going to knock out Chris Curtis. I think that Ilia Topuria is going to. I think Ilia Topuria is. No, I think, honestly.
You think Bryce Mitchell's going to win?
I think Ilia Topuria is going to knock out Bryce Mitchell.
Knock him out.
Yeah, dude.
I'm thinking decision.
Or just piece him up on the feet.
I think decision. And I think
yeah. And some other good fights on that card. What's another one?
You think that kid, the 18-year-old is gonna win?
Rose? Oh, I think I can't wait for that. I forgot about that. I think Raul Rosas Jr. is gonna win by submission.
Wait, you think Buckley is gonna beat Curtis?
Yeah.
But how? I think
he's gonna knock him out.
You think he's gonna knock Curtis out? Okay.
Oh yeah.
I think Rosenstrike will for sure. Or whatever you say his name, is gonna knock out Dawkins for sure.
Dawkins. Oh, that 100%, guys. If you're ever gonna bet your house, bet on Rosenstrike to absolutely annihilate Chris Dawkins.
Another guy who I think is
Dawkins brothers are trash.
Yeah, another guy who I think is guaranteed to lose is Robbie Lawler. Shouldn't be.
Yeah, Robbie Lawler ain't the best.
He's gonna get knocked out. I think that's gonna be brutal. So if you want to make a good bet, parlay those two, the Rosenstrike and Santiago Ponzinibbio. I don't know how to really pronounce his name, but
Ponzinibbio is gonna beat up Robbie Lawler for sure.
What I saw that was actually real interesting is that du Plessis is now minus 170 against Till. Till is now plus 1.
What was he originally?
He was minus 120, so it's increased a bit. which is kind of interesting. Another thing I noticed is Ank Alive is now minus 260. I think he was over minus 300 before. I think that's a pretty safe.
Yeah, I just have a hard time believing that Jan
Yeah,
Blachowicz
yeah.
wins. So I'm gonna pick Magomed by decision.
Magomed by decision. You know, I actually think he knocks out Jan. Or I actually no, I think he submits Jan. I think he knocks him down, and I think he submits him.
I've never seen him submit anyone. I don't know if he could. I don't
He
know. I
definitely
mean,
could.
I'm gonna pick him to win. I know he's gonna win.
There's no way he doesn't win. This is like one of the most confident
Yeah.
I've ever been on. Like, but I think a good
Oh yeah.
parlay would be Magomed, Santiago, and then Rosenstrike. I think that's a
I agree with that.
that. How can that miss? You know, can't see
That
that
that's
missing.
an X. Yeah, I agree.
Ovin St. Preux is on that. I don't care about that. That guy should retire. Chris Kurt. I think Ilya Tapirio is going to win by decision against Bryce Mitchell. I'm actually really looking for that fight. That fight is probably, other than the Till fight, that's probably the fight I'm looking forward to the second most. Like, yeah, I'm
Oh
excited
yeah.
for the main event. It just, I feel like I kind of really know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, I know that Magomed is going to beat him up. But in terms of Bryce Mitchell, Tapirio, I think Tapirio is going to win. But I think it can go either way. I think it's going to be a really good fight. You know what I mean? So back and forth.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that. And Hill, just because like it's Darren Till, you know, I want to see how he does. And if he got the win, I think that would make my night, honestly. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It would be a great way to end December. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this card. The good thing about it is that the prelims are good too. You know what I'm saying? So I think that makes it like nice. So when you're starting to watch early, there's some fights you're looking forward to. So seeing that 18-year-old fight, I'm excited. Seeing Buckley fight, it's exciting. You know, Buckley Curtis, I think that'll be a good fight. So yeah, even the Rosenstrike Dawkins, I mean, it'll be there's gonna be a knockout, so it'll be entertaining too. So I'm really looking forward to this card. I still wish we saw Yuri Glover too. You know, that card
Yeah.
would have made the card so much better, but it is what it is. Magomed would have been champ at some point, so I guess they're just fast tracking it. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm definitely looking forward to it, and yeah, we'll anything else on that card? You excited?
I think we hit on all of it. I'm excited to seeing Billy Quarantillo. I think that'll be a good fight too. That's on the early prelims. And yeah, I think I can't wait for this card. I mean, I'm going to be watching the early prelims, the prelims, and the main card. So I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm beyond excited. And then to the end of the year, we're ending it off good also. Cannonier Strickland. Wait, before we go, did you see that UFC 283? They're saying that the main event is now Davidson Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno. They're officially
Oh,
saying
I've known that.
that's that's so dumb. And it's a shame. It's a real fuck you to the fans. So
Oh yeah.
unfortunate, but after that we'll be having some really good cards. So but yeah, guys, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button. Takes a minute, helps us out a lot. Yeah. So until next time.